It's 5:30, let's call it 5:33 p.m. So I'm calling the November 27th meeting of the Ayer Board of Health to order. Thank you everyone for coming. I see we have public today, always welcome. Is there any public input for anything other than the items that are on the agenda? Because we can take public input for those as we get to those items. Any general? Okay, good. That works for me. So, for old business, we are set to review fence plans to continue the permit discussion for 17 Taft Street. So if you'd like to come up and join us, sit at the table, you're certainly welcome to. And you are here.
I'm Lori Bajoyan for Ruth Maxon Schultz. I'm Brian's law partner.
Okay.
He is recuperating from total knee replacement.
Yeah, he told me he was having that. I think he's going to be a lot happier after.
Well, this is number 2.
Oh.
This is the second one, so it's worse.
Oh boy.
Than the
Yeah,
first,
that's
so, unfortunately.
that is a tough recovery. Could you spell your last name for me?
Joyan, B as in boy.
Yep.
Ejoian.
Hey, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thanks, Bridget. We just started a second ago. So I don't know what you heard, Bridget, but Brian is recovering from knee replacement.
Okay.
So Lori Bajoyan is here. She's in the law practice with him, so she is here with Ms. Ruth. So the way we left it, just to kind of sort of refresh everyone's memory as to where we are, we, at the meeting the last time, which was 4 weeks ago, exactly, we said that we had identified a problem with animals getting out, and that was pretty well documented with police reports. So a couple of things. One was, before we could grant the full permit or continue conditional permit, we wanted to see a plan for what was going to happen with fencing, and a plan with implementation dates and how and why that fencing was going to be adequate. And that was due in 30 days, so you technically do have a couple days left, because that was 28 days ago. So that will be, today's the 27th? So what is actually 30 days? Is it the 30th? Can we call it the 30th? Yeah. Okay. So that would be the date then that we're working with at this point. So if you can have that plan to us by the 30th, we would just send it to Samantha, who then will distribute it to board members. That will give me a chance to take a look at it. Bridget can take a look at it. We might have some questions back for you on it. But if we get, that week or so to review it, then when we come to the next meeting, which is the 11th of December, then we'll be able to have a more substantive discussion then about that plan and how to go forward. So the hope would be that if we have an acceptable plan and the dates are acceptable and it looks like this resolution is going to work, then we would extend that conditional permit accordingly, so that the condition could be fulfilled of securing the fencing.
Okay, you keep using the word permit.
Yes.
And the permit is for what? The
keeping
fence?
of the animals. Yes.
Keeping of the animals?
Yes. Yes.
That's a farm issue.
No, it's a town Board of Health regulation for the town.
But the Board of Health has said that there are no sanitary issues with respect to the animals on the property. And Ruth has a commercial farm. And most of the regulations with respect to farms that towns address have to do with personal farms, not commercial farms. I understand that her property has perimeter fencing, and it's going to be reinforced it already has been reinforced in some areas with chain link fencing
Okay.
to secure within where the existing fence is. So it's
Okay.
a double layer. There are also issues with respect to fences from other property that are on the outside of her property that have been leaning against her fences, compromising her fences. So that's an issue that needs to be addressed that she herself can't address because she would be interfering with somebody else's right to their property. So we are aware of those boundary issues. With respect to the animals getting out, Ruth is going to be taking, as she has already, be reviewing the fences on a constant basis to make sure where animals are getting out and to repair those and not have those animals be anywhere near those compromised repair areas. With respect to timing, Ruth and I will discuss timing of having that all done. There are different fencings that she has on the property, but the regulations with regard to fences and farms can be any material. It can be wire, it can be metal, it can be wood, whatever. So long as she has those sort of materials for the fencing, it should be perfectly fine with regard to maintaining her animals. Her other concern too with fencing, and everyone should agree to this, is that the fencing, she's concerned about fencing because she doesn't want predators coming in. And that's really an important aspect of her farm.
Protecting the animals.
Protecting the animals. So that's what we're going to be doing. She is going to be, it's an ongoing maintaining the fencing. Any breakage, any damage will be immediately repaired or repaired as soon as feasible, but until such time, the animals will be maintained in areas away from where those broken areas of fences are.
Okay.
That need to be repaired.
So that would be exactly what we're looking for then in a written plan. If you need to use diagrams to show us with certain areas where the animals will or won't go, we certainly can deal with that. I agree with you. There is nothing in the regulation that says a particular kind of material or type of construction. The regulation that we're working with, it's an Ayer Board of Health regulation for the keeping of animals in fowl. And there is no, just to touch base with something you said earlier, there is no farm exemption for this. And the rationale there is that we're a small, fairly tightly compressed town compared to some of the other towns around here. So it's really important to us that we have some way of identifying where the animals are and being able to come out and do inspections and make sure that the feed is secure and the animals are secure and there aren't unsanitary conditions. And that applies whether it's irrelevant whether you're a commercial farm or not. So it's kind of the is or isn't a farm thing is not really that relevant to the discussion. But with the fencing, the criteria that we're using is that it's got to be effective to keep the animals in. So, you know, Ms. Maxson is the farmer. She can make some recommendations to us that this should be adequate because types of animals I have are blah, 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 that, you know, this type of fencing is considered adequate. We don't know. We certainly can't prescribe the type of fencing you need to have. But that's ultimately the measure, is do the animals get out or not. So I have to say there has been a significant change. When we were here the last time, which I think was the day before Halloween, maybe it was like the 30th, I think. There had been, we had tallied up, it was something to the effect of 17 reports, like going back to March. I don't know if it was a goat or multiple goats, but at least a goat was out on Halloween, but that's it. We've had no more reports of goats being out, so if you have made some repairs to the fencing and if you have done some things, then that certainly appears to be effective, and we're headed in the right direction. So that's really what it comes down to, is is it an effective fence, not is it a, XYZ type of fence.
And I don't mean to be semantics with you,
yeah,
but is there a definition of effective that you have? I honestly, that's from a legal perspective.
Yeah, I understand that.
I would want to know what you consider effective if you are using federal rules with respect to the definition of effective, state rules with respect to the definition of effective. So that's something that I want to look into to make sure that what she is doing, because she is commercially registered, with the state. And so I want to make sure that if she's following those rules, are the town's regulations, are they contradictory? Are they do they supersede? I mean, she's in a position where she is a farmer and she's following the state Commonwealth rules, and if Ayer decides they're going to put in regulations that are significantly different than the Commonwealth, then that puts a hardship on the farmer. And I'm not saying that you have that, but you have to be aware of that from our perspective, and that we need to know what your criterion is effective, but
you make a very good point, and it's a legal issue where I, not being an attorney, really can't go, but I can tell you, using Pam's rule, it's somewhere closer to where we are now with no goats getting out since October than it is 17 escapes between March and the end of October. That's not effective.
Right. No, I understand. And maybe if it's only one goat, maybe what we do is we put a colored collar on that goat so we know which one is trying to escape.
Or tie a bungee cord to its back leg.
I don't mean to joke.
I understand.
If it's just one animal that keeps getting out, then we address that. Excuse me, I'm sorry, but it's distracting when people behind me talk.
Yeah, I understand you. Yeah, if you could, guys, just in the audience, keep it down.
So, but that's one of the things too. Right. So,
well, we're certainly willing to be flexible with that. We do understand that there's never 100% on every single minute of every single day compliance with anything, but it's also not 17 escapes.
Correct,
so,
and it's using best efforts.
That's
the other. Besides effective, it's using best efforts when you're made aware. Ruth mentioned to me that there was a tree that came down and broke an area of the fence, which she was not aware of until she did another perimeter investigation. So that's the other thing too, and that might be something that we need to work with too, is maybe the perimeter inspections need to be more frequent. If there's, I think you've got a pretty decent perimeter there you must have with all the different twists and turns that the property line makes. So, and there's also fencing areas for grazing, rotation of grazing inside and all. So it's one of those situations where, as a goat farmer, they need to rotate for purposes of grazing and stuff, and it's not like having dogs or cats that you stick in one area and they don't move from there. I mean, these are animals that are used to grazing, etc. So trying to be as compliant as we possibly can be with respect to rules, but also an understanding that best efforts being used, and getting reports of if there has been an escapee, that report is provided to Ruth almost immediately and not 2-3 days later. And it's hard to remedy something when it's already occurred and it's past tense. I mean, that the animal has gotten out, but when you don't hear about it and don't know where it's gone, and you don't realize that the animal is out, because when you go to count all the animals, they're all back where they're supposed to be.
True, but we also have to work towards the goal of the animals not getting out. rather than going to retrieve them once they are out. That's where I want to move the end point to, is to let's get to a point where we prevent this. Because really at the end of the day, whether it's a farm or not, there's one person in this room that gets the benefits of those goats, and it's Ms. Maxon. And you can't visit that on your neighbors. You can't visit it on other members of the community. We're all responsible for our own, our own pleasures and displeasures in life, and that's just the way it's got to be.
You mentioned your regulation. Do you have the regulation number?
It doesn't actually have a number. If you go on the Town of Ayer website and just kind of navigate to the regulations part, it's the one that, the most recent one was dated January 29th, 2019, and that should be the only one that's up there. Is that right, Sam? There's only one current version, right?
There's one current version.
Yeah, so if you get to it through Town of Ayer website, you will get to the right one.
Samantha, you have Brian's email, right?
Yes.
If you could just send a link to him, I'm on his computer half the day.
Okay.
So, but
All right.
that would give me a hand, and then we can go.
Yeah,
from
then
there.
you can see what it is that we're working with, and stay in touch with us too through we've kind of
Exactly.
made Sam the point person just so everybody's not calling everybody, so
Right.
she can certainly get the reports out to everyone.
And she can
but-
disseminate to everybody.
Yeah, if you have
Right.
questions as you're going through this process, but do get it into us, the written plan, by the 30th, and then expect that we'll have maybe some questions or clarifications. And the next important date then would be the
December 11th.
December 11th, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
All
Fantastic.
right,
Can I add one thing in, Pam?
of course.
So, I'm Bridget, the
Hi, Bridget.
health inspector. So, just for clarity purposes, there has been several goats that have gone out at different times, not always just one. And we're not always made aware of it right away. So as the property owner, it's up to Ruth to really maintain that property and understand we get calls from the police. So, and sometimes we, I don't know if getting in touch with Ruth by phone or by email might not always be easiest or quick on our end, because again, we don't know.
Okay.
So I think it's just important to note that as the property owner, it's really the responsibility of that person to make sure that the animals are secure and accounted for.
Okay.
The problem I have is that I have asked the police several times, call me if you get a report of the goats. And there have been several times this year where I get a call on Thursday. Your goats are out Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning. And it's Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had no idea they were out, because that little story, leave them alone and they'll come home wagging their tail behind them. That's exactly what they do. They go out, they munch, and they
Perhaps
come
after
back.
they eat some hydrangeas, though,
No.
which is becomes
That's
the
poisonous
problem.
to them,
Yeah.
and I don't want them eating hydrangeas. And I don't want
Right,
them.
I know you don't.
So I
I know
have
you don't.
requested the police, and I'm going to go down to the chief again and
Yeah.
say, I want dispatch to call me. Because it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. That's
trying
fair.
to get,
You should know as soon as
2 days
possible.
later, finding out that the goats are out. It's not right. And I don't want people trying to corral my goats to bring them back in. Because I don't want my goats hurt. I don't want people hurt. And I want to be able to do it. And I can't do it if they aren't calling me and telling me.
I think that's the right thing to do, to go to police, that all of those reports go to Julie, who you know, and then she's the one that takes action based on that. She's the one that would have to look at, so what will happen sometimes is we don't find out about it right away. Somebody has, the video, timestamp video of the goats or, whatever animal it was, so we don't always know in real time either, which is, kind of goes to making it important to make sure they're not getting out.
Well, but the other thing too is if dispatch is getting phone calls with respect to a goat being out, then the next step is, if they're going out to see where the animal is, the next step would be knocking on Ruth's door and saying,
Yep.
"You've got one out." I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
in terms of timeliness of this information, so I mean, that's what Ruth is trying to do, and that's why.
Yeah, and I can
she
review
speaks
that with Julie too.
And
Yeah.
that's why she has the conversations with the police department with respect to that, because she has a large piece of property. So.
No, it's fair. You have to know what's going on.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I certainly support that.
Just to clear up too, that goat that I got out Halloween night.
Yeah.
Is my little goat with a broken leg. And
Oh,
so
God.
I keep her out of the other goats because they will beat her up if they'll pick on her. So she follows me around all day, and she'd been following me around that day, and she'd been out in the driveway with me, and I'd be giving her little snacks, of course. But I came in, and I thought I heard that splint going click, click, click on the ground behind me, so I didn't think about it. I said, come on, Amber, let's go. And apparently she heard the trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
And she's very friendly. So apparently she decided to go investigate instead of following me. So by the time I got to the house, put down my stuff, and when I started to look for her, I went down through the gate to the barn. I turned around, there she was. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And but I guess she'd been out.
Yeah.
She wanted to trick or treat.
I know.
What's happened? I know.
Give me candy.
That's a hard night anyway. Everybody's animals are a little,
Exactly.
behave a little differently on Halloween.
So we will do our duty and
Okay, very
get
good.
this written report to you. I do have some photographs from Ruth, but I also have some from the assessor's map and stuff, trying
sure.
to draw out so that I can we can put this together for you in terms
Okay.
of
All
what
right.
we have and how effective we are going to be.
Perfect,
And I will look at the definition of effective. I don't
Yeah,
mean to be a
yeah,
pain,
no,
but
I understand. Yep.
it's important and making sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. I understand that.
So,
Good. So, all right. Very good.
May I?
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
I'm kind of like a little like thrown off by this. My name is Sergey. I'm an immediate neighbor of Route 112 Pleasant Street.
Yep.
You guys just spent 20 minutes trying to figure out what is effective. Effective is when I don't have goats or horses on my property next to my 4- and 6-year-old.
Right.
Very simple. That's effective. And when you guys talk about, like it's going to be in a timely manner, what is timely manner then? Can we define that? When is it going to get done, So the point is, last time we were here, you guys made it very clear. On the 30th, we're going to have a plan. What is the plan? Are we going to have a plan in 3 days? Because when you guys discuss and when the representative for her says, and you guys, I'm sorry, but it's not a laughing matter. When
No, I understand.
One goat putting it on the leash,
Yep.
I have about 20 goats, I have a video of it. I had 2 horses on my property. Not funny at all.
No,
All
and
right?
it shouldn't
effective
happen.
means just what I said. When I don't no longer have goats or horses next to my children, that is what effective. We wasting resources of this town to chase goats
Yep.
and horses. Are you guys kidding me right now? It's just becoming like a joke, Anything effective is going to be done, I hope, soon.
Yep.
Or it's not, it's kind of wasting our time,
Yeah, well, that's why the dates are very important. We gave 30 days. We've got,
Right, but
we've got the 30th.
They're already talking about ineffective matter. What
Yep.
is that? Can that be defined? What is?
I
it,
haven't
2 weeks
seen the
or
plan
3
yet. I haven't seen the plan
Right?
yet,
And
so-
well, it sounds like we're not going to see it either.
Yeah, you'll see it. Come back on the 11th. Come back to the next meeting. This isn't going to be a one and done thing. It's a process of figuring out what's going to work and,
We already talked about last time. You said on the 30th, if there is no plan, there is no permit.
that's right.
But now you
We did say
said
that.
we need a week to sit on it. So that's not the 30th.
No, we didn't say we need a week to sit on it. I want the plan by the 30th. We have a meeting on December 11th. That's why I want the plan on the 30th, so that if I have questions, we can ask them and get clarification so we can have a meaningful discussion on the 11th and not be seeing something in front of us for the first time. That's all. I hear you're frustrated. I feel your frustration, and I absolutely agree with you. Effective means what's supposed to be on one side of the fence stays there, and what is supposed to be on the other side.
Horse next to my house because they're chasing 2 horses. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, that's wasting town's resources. That's just what it is. That's not what police is
Amber
for.
was trying
Yeah.
to put the goats away and the horses.
Yeah, understood. I understand.
Because they came onto the property. Okay, we'll deal with
Yeah,
that.
Hi, I'm Jamie Perak, 108 Pleasant Street.
Hi.
I just want to say one thing. I know Ms. Massent was concerned because she feels like she wasn't being told like until a few days later. But actually, so there's a report written by Julie Thomas. It's quite lengthy, and it has very specific times, like it's like that she has reached
that
out.
summary police report, you mean?
So
Yeah.
I believe that they actually have reached out to her. Whether or not she didn't return the message, it seems like on the report that was the case for a lot of the time. So I guess because I would hate to think that no one is contacting her, because it seems as though they are.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that that's understood, I guess.
Could you send a copy of this over as well to Laurie when you send me, because this is
great, yep.
It's a summary of the police report.
Right, the police report,
incident.
yep.
So, yeah.
Not a problem.
I think that would be
Anything you
helpful.
can send over to me, Samantha. I haven't, since Brian's been out working on his cases and my cases and trying to find
understood,
files
yeah.
has been extremely difficult.
I gotcha. It's hard to fill in too. Okay, absolutely, yes.
Hi, Katrina Benedetto, 2 Riley J. Lane. Has the stagnant water makeshift pond been addressed and cleared up yet? I believe the permit was also contingent on
Yeah, it was my understanding that when the re-inspection happened, that area had cleared up and it had been raining. So,
and then it rained again and the water was pulled back, is what I understood from the last meeting.
From the last meeting, I think the most recent update we had was that despite the fact that it had been raining, there wasn't.
No,
There wasn't water there, no?
still
No?
pooling.
No, there was still, Steve said there was still water there and they had to be addressed too.
So I think you were with me when we went back, right?
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
it,
So water is back or not back? Or?
Ruth had sent pictures after we were there in July,
It had
and they were
dried up.
both dry.
and I think it had,
There was water in it when we were there
yes.
in November or
Like
October.
after the rains, and that, I
After the
don't-
rain. Our concern was in terms of mosquito and other vectors
Yeah.
being born there. There was no
I-
evidence of that.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Okay, and that's the.
Is that going to be continued to be evaluated and assessed? Because if there's still
You want me to
a
answer
hole
that?
in the ground that's full with water,
Yeah.
If it becomes an issue that would breed mosquitoes or any other vermin, it will definitely be an issue.
and when does that get assessed to not be an issue any longer?
I don't think mosquitoes are prevalent this time of year.
Vermin. So when does that get assessed?
So if it's there in the spring of the year when the barn inspection is being done, it will be addressed.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not something we're not looking at, we're not concerned about.
Sure.
In the summer, when there would be mosquitoes and other things that would be there, there was no water there. So,
So this will be part of the routine
Absolutely.
assessment of her permit?
Yeah, it's the whole regulation, and really everybody here, there's probably nobody in this room that hasn't seen the regulation at this point, but in case there is, go on the website and I encourage you to look at the regulation. It's kind of long, it's 8 pages. And it goes through all of the requirements, and they're all geared to be, to protect public health by making sure that we're,
Sure.
it's sanitary and we're not drawing vermin and that kind of stuff, so.
Sure, thank you.
Madam Chairman, there was a comment that was made about other fences leaning on Ruth's fence. That's the first time I've heard of that. That's not a Board of Health issue either. It is a building inspector issue. And I would ask
That is true.
I would ask that Sam notify the building inspector, and if there is an issue with other fences, that it be addressed.
Yeah, take pictures of,
we do
yeah,
have-
the
I'm just-
areas.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
it's great. We
Not for
do have,
argument
no, I know, but we do have photographs of that, so gladly to present them to
No, give them the
the
building
building
inspector.
department and all, because
Yeah.
they're.
That's fine.
In addition to fences, there's also other debris, like wood and stuff that's being pushed against the fence too, and so you don't want the fences to be compromised because of
Yeah, I
other
gotcha.
people's actions. So I'll talk to the building department.
Sam will notify the building inspector tomorrow.
All right, well, that'd be great.
And whatever you do, can you send them a copy of that as well? Okay, but it's not a Board of Health issue.
So Sam, as soon as you send the email and stuff, I can forward photographs to you that you can forward on.
Why don't you just send them
Or
to the
I'll just send it to the
building
building. Okay, not a problem. That'd be great.
And I guess one other comment.
Sure, yeah.
You know, I can strike the word effective. I don't really care what effective means. I totally agree with the gentleman's comment that he has a right to enjoy his property without someone else's animals being on his property. So I don't care if it's effective. It's keeping the animals on Ruth's property. That's it. So if we're going to split hairs in terms of looking at the definition of effective, I don't care if it's effective. I don't care what it's made out of. That's not my problem. My issue is that the animals stay on Ruth's property. That's it. Very simple.
Understood. I just,
Well, we're
no,
going
understood. I
down the
wasn't-
path of looking at the town bylaw. You're more than welcome to do that. I mean, you're much more versed at that than I will ever be or have any intention of being. So, no,
yeah, no, I understand.
go
So-
for it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the animals stay on Ruth's property, not on someone else's.
And that's exactly what,
That's it.
exactly what we want as well. So we're on the same page with respect to that.
And I will say that after October 30th, we haven't had any reports, and that's a good thing. But if you look at the minutes of the meeting, we lined out exactly what we're going to do if the animals are loose. And as far as the police department goes, I encourage you to talk to them, but again, their correspondence isn't something that the Board of Health has any control over whatsoever. And we told the property owners that abut the property to notify the police, and that is the proper thing to do. And I agree, you know, having the police chasing someone's animals is not the best use of their time or resources. I understand that. Okay.
Yeah.
No dispute here.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
to clarify for the abutters, just to be clear, at the next meeting, the written plan with exact dates and what is to be, how they're going to implement it, it's going to be by October 30th, but our meeting isn't until the 11th, so we have that time frame in between
Yeah,
to look at it.
yeah, yeah.
If there are things that are in the plan that we have questions about as a board, will we review and meet before the 11th and go over it? Or I understand the frustration with meeting to meeting to meeting, and that's what I was just wondering out loud for these folks.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, is that we could,
I'm sorry, if you
sure,
want to
go ahead.
have it sent to me, I can review it. And then individually, if you each have questions, you can individually email me and I can try to,
yeah, that's actually the best way to stay out of the open meeting
so if
problem.
you
yeah.
send, as long as I get that,
We can all get copies of it and read it, right?
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
can
yeah.
respond, I'll review it
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah,
Sure.
just
And then-
be sending them all back to Bridget is kind of the point.
And
person for
then
that.
Bridget will contact us
Yeah.
with questions or.
either
Yeah, that's
Sam and
really
I.
good.
So,
Yeah.
so by the time December 11th meeting happens, there won't be any, oh, well, no, we don't agree with this, we won't agree with that, and we're not, and I understand your frustration with, well, I thought the last meeting we decided this.
Yep.
That's what it's looking like.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Now, on the 11th, I want to have a meeting where we come out of that with some agreements on what is going to, hopefully, your plan is going to be adequate, and we'll get some dates by which we're going to implement, and then we'll do some verifications to it's implemented. So, to be continued. Come back on the 11th, please.
I guess I'll have to.
Yeah, exactly.
He won't be well by then, and I have to be in court on the 12th, so hopefully I can be here on the 11th. I have no idea what my calendar looks like
Okay.
these days, so I'm hoping the 11th.
Thank you very much.
Yikes. Well, yeah, the 11th is fine.
Okay, perfect.
I was just looking, and I have to be in Canton on a case, and it's
Oh,
just
gosh, yeah.
doing that from here is not.
It's always
fun.
hard to fill in for someone else anyway.
Well, I totally miss the Zooms.
Yeah.
I really do. When they do that, I'm very happy.
They can be pretty effective. You can go from one meeting to the next with no road time.
Where you are.
Exactly, yes, yes,
Thank
that's
you
true.
all so much.
Thank you for coming. Let me know if there's anything we can do for you, any questions we can answer. Okay, so that is gonna then show up, Sam, as a next agenda thing. It'll be continuation of the discussion review of the plan. All right, for new business, we have rats in various locations. I know I know Union Street has come up as a location, and I know that Washington Street, Pleasant Street, kind of the lower part of that, has come up. Are there other areas too? Is it kind of those?
So I think it's, have you had any, I don't know if we've had any more complaints about Union Street.
I didn't see anything new, no.
Was Union Street residential or commercial? Just out of curiosity because of the restaurant?
Yeah, I don't know. Coming from
so-
3 Union Street. What's 3
So-
Union Street? What's your
That's a residential house. So that's another,
Okay. So that wasn't a business.
Union
that was a
Street
no,
residential.
no.
I'm getting confused.
With Mechanic Street.
I'm thinking of-
Mechanics, you're thinking mechanic.
The mechanic.
Yeah, it's Union Street.
I was
is a-
thinking of that, where the cheetah was and the Parthenon and all that.
That's mechanic.
Yeah, that's not, yeah.
Union is the next one.
Yeah.
That's your neighborhood.
I'm on the other side of the tracks.
It used to be your
Wrong side of the
neighborhood.
tracks. I don't know why, but anyways. So it was a residential.
Yeah, so we're having some issues with individuals with chickens not getting permits, which, did you say you sent out certified?
I sent out certified letters
Okay.
to the 2 we have.
Okay.
The one on Union Street very nicely signed his card saying he got it, but I don't have an application.
What was the date on it?
Okay.
I mailed it the 9th of November.
So that's
And he
pretty
returned,
recent.
and he returned it the 13th.
Okay.
And then this one was sent on the 9th as well, and I have heard nothing since.
Is that Washington?
Yep.
Okay. So can we, my suggestion is we sent out the certified. If we don't have any correspondence from them before the next meeting, then we have them in to the next meeting. The owners to address the issue of chickens with no permits and rats on the property. So that's my suggestion at this
Yeah.
point, is to have them in to discuss it, because they, essentially, they
I
have
guess-
chickens with no permits, and at least for me, the one on Washington Street, I physically saw rats coming from underneath the fence.
Yeah,
And it's
and that is a place that has had a
on and
chicken
off, yes.
permit. So, what about Union Street? Has there been a permit for those chickens in the past, or is that a brand new thing?
So Lawton Street, there's one, right? Do they have a permit?
They have a permit.
Yeah. So there's one on Lawton Street. They have
Okay.
a permit. We've had complaints about that property, but I actually think the general area is so small that I think where I saw the rats on Washington Street, I
Yeah.
don't think that it's, I think there's a distinct possibility that the rats could be coming from that general area and moving around.
Okay.
Only because on the day that I went to Washington Street and saw the rats,
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
went to Lawton Street and did not see any rats. We did see burrows, but we're seeing burrows on other properties that don't have chickens.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's happening, I think it's just such a condensed area.
Yeah.
And they're moving around. And,
Yeah,
again, I tell people they're nocturnal. If you drive around at night, you might see one here and there. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the reality, but the biggest issue that we're having, we did put it on social media, is the 3 biggest issues with respect to rats are trash,
Yep,
but the number 1 and 2 are chickens and bird feeding.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
we have a lot of that in a very condensed area.
yeah.
So keeping that in mind, you know, we are looking around, we're trying to educate neighbors and the people that have the chickens.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, again, if they're not responding to us, then I think the next step is to have them into a meeting and then we can find them.
Yeah, the only thing that bothers me about the Washington Street one is that this is someone that knows they need
Yes,
a permit.
yes, I've
So I
actually,
kind of hate to bring them in to talk, what's to talk about? It's like, get your damn.
other than
permit.
inconveniencing them and making them, we can also find them,
I mean,
but
I think when you have had, and I just happened to recognize, because I was typing for a while, a long time ago, actually typing out the chicken permits, and I just remember some of the addresses, so I know that one goes way, way back, so I'm
What
not
is
feeling
the-
quite as charitable.
What is the regulation as it relates to people not getting a permit?
Ah.
Someone says, no, I'm just going to keep chickens or whatever, and I'm not going to get a permit.
Well, it says no person shall own or operate facility without permit. Applications for the permit, blah, 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 blah. Permit to be issued. Okay, then standards of care. Enforcement. I don't think there's any wording specifically about, you know, if there's a refusal, it's more, it just goes to the enforcement, so.
Does Julie have something different than this from an enforcement perspective? The keeping of animals without a permit?
I
so
don't
she,
think so.
so I'm just gonna, these are our regulations, but because they're required to have a permit,
Yeah.
that's over here, right? So they're required to have a permit?
Yeah.
If they're not, then we can start the fining process. And the first offense is 25, the second is 50, the third is 100, the fourth is 300, and then eventually you get town council involved.
Does it say how long the violation has to be occurring before? I guess where I'm going with this is if
Yeah.
the guy on Washington Street responded, why wouldn't we let him know that if there's not a permit by a certain time, we'll start the fining process?
Right,
And
that's
let-
what I'm thinking.
Let Julie
Yeah,
know that as well.
That's reasonable.
So, and I would do that with both of these people, that you've got till, let's- being reasonable, the end of December.
Yep.
Yeah,
If you don't have a permit by the end of December, and let Julie know,
yeah.
start fining as of
That's
January
that-
1st.
That's kind of more what I'm feeling in the mood
Yeah.
for myself, yeah.
But
Do you have the letter that you wrote?
I think as a follow-up letter, send another certified letter saying, you know, you've got till this point in time. If you choose not to get a permit, we will start the fining process on January the 1st.
I think, did I put a date in it? Yeah,
Do we
I
need-
said, I actually wrote in the letter, please submit by November 22nd, so it would be in time for this meeting, and no one responded, so.
Okay? I mean, I'd go December 15th if you want. I mean,
We don't need to cite any fine, I mean, anything in the letter, just
No,
get
we-
it
And I
done.
would just say per the
Get it- 'cause
Because
regulation.
they received
Yeah.
copies of the regulations.
Yeah,
So they- yeah.
I sent copies of the regulations with it, and I even quoted in the letter, per the Air Board of Health Regulations, Section 4 permits, no person shall own or operate a
Okay.
facility for the keeping of
Yeah.
animals.
let's
Yeah.
just,
All right.
yep.
do you want, does the 15th sound better? If she already said,
Yeah.
why are we giving them 6 weeks? I mean,
Yeah, I'm actually good with the 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want the
yeah, I'm good with the
Do we
15th.
need to make a, or no?
Yeah, make one of your motions, Steve.
Put that into
You're good at
words.
this.
the two holders of fowl on Union Street and Washington Street that have been notified of the permit, if there's not a permit pulled or approved by the Board of Health by December the 15th,
Yeah.
that the fining process will begin.
Yep,
I second that.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So voted.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, I will send that
And you'll
tomorrow.
let Julie know about that?
Yep.
Okay.
And just
Could you do me a favor?
let me know if you
Can you
want
email me
me to look at the letter.
Copies of these two.
What's that?
Thank you.
I was telling Sam,
Oh.
but let me know. Let me know if you want me to look at the letter or anything, but
Yeah.
Bridget's actually the better one to look at it, because she'll make sure it's right.
I copied Charlie's violation letters. I just changed it.
Yeah, I'm saying the wording must be somewhat, somewhat standard. Okay, are those the only two, like, major offenders with,
Sounds good to me.
That we know of.
that we know of, yeah?
That we know of.
And I liked the one pager on the rats. I thought that was pretty good, because, you know, you hear out here all the time about, oh, bears, you gotta lock up your bird seed. Well, in Ayer, yeah, you probably have bears in your yard.
We have had bears done.
Yeah, I haven't had a bear in my yard, but rats I'm more concerned about. I keep my bird seed it's like in one of those metal things with the, nobody's getting in there.
No one ate my bird seed. It all started to sprout. And I just cleaned it out.
That's bad when the birds reject the free seed.
Thanks.
So I talked to Bridget this afternoon. I drove up Lawton Street. There was no dumpsters that were overflowing. There was no trash,
Yeah.
nothing. And
It's a chicken thing.
I think so, but the only thing that I mentioned to Bridget, and I don't know how far rats migrate or how far they travel,
Yeah.
but Park Street was a major problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was visible, the
Yeah.
holes in the ground, and they moved the dumpsters. And I almost wonder if the rats move.
So they go where
Yeah.
they go where the food is, obviously, but I think in almost all of the cases that we've had to deal with, it's been, I think the biggest issue in Ayer specifically is chickens.
Chicken.
It's definitely chickens, because, I mean, again, it's the feed. We've had the rats burrow underneath the chicken coops.
Yeah.
You know, even on farms, it's not uncommon.
Sure.
I mean, rats will be prevalent on farms because there's food. And,
Yeah.
you know, again, it's anywhere you have that source, especially this time of year, they're going to move towards the houses because that's where they can,
Yeah.
there's not as much stuff out in the wild. So
Yeah.
they're moving in towards the houses, the foundations, and
Yeah.
basically seeking, yeah. But it's you know, and that's why I said to people, the combination of the small yards with
Yeah.
the bird feeding
Yeah.
too is just another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the one that we looked at on Lawton Street, again, we walked his property with him. We saw some things that I think are even out of his control, with some drainage that comes underneath a parking lot that goes onto his yard that
Oh, okay. Yeah.
can be a highway for the rats to travel back and forth.
Yeah.
So there are different things, but, you know, again, I think at this time of year, you know, with him, they're eating his fruit trees, which is,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's mad. I mean, you know, he's
Yeah.
doing what he can on his property, but,
Right.
you know, it's definitely, you know, having assessed the situation, there's definitely an issue, I think, with chickens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what we can do with these, at least 2 chicken properties. And then, are we okay with roosters, or is there a rooster issue too?
I know that one of the complaints for Union Street was that there were roosters to go with the rats.
Did they get rid of them?
But last time I checked, Julie said he managed to rehome 2 of them. Was working on a 3rd, but he doesn't have a chicken permit, so I don't know for sure.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right, so at least 2, or at least he's down 2 out of the 3, so
Yeah.
maybe that'll help. And that's the Union Street
Yes, that's
one.
Union
Oh,
Street.
okay. It's not a different.
No, Union Street, that was part of the complaint, was the roosters.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Is that all we have for rats and
Is that,
chickens?
it's
and
not enough?
fowls and well, I don't want to move off of it if we've got to go back to it. So if we are done with those.
Sorry.
I think that is
The
enough.
whole time we're talking about it, I'm like,
I know, we've been almost an hour on rats and animals. Other regulations. So Bridget and I started talking about, you know, Trish, we do this periodically. We look at our regulations. And so some of them, I think it's kind of a project that, you know, might take some time over the next few months, but we should look at the regulations that we have and, you know, what needs to be updated, what could be gotten rid of. I know wood burning boilers.
yeah, there was a couple of
Come
really
up as a possibility,
stuff.
The other ancient one is floor drains. Is that the one that
So-
we need to keep, or?
That's up to you. I think,
Do other towns have floor drain?
Yes,
Right,
whether it's
yeah.
in Board of Health or not, you have to have an oil-water separator so that you don't.
I think it's also to keep stuff from
Okay.
going into
Yeah.
the septic
But
system.
whether it's a duplication of another
I can look into that.
purview.
Yeah, could that
So
be in some other?
if you have a commercial garage or filling station, any place that you would be changing oil or any other solvents, you have to have an oil-water separator on the floor. You can't just have a drain. But from a food processing perspective, the Board of Health would be interested if there's a floor drain in a place that does food processing.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
So that one might,
it might still be
yeah.
pertinent.
That
Yeah.
one might need to stay. Unless it's in, you know, Bridget, like,
Surge regulations.
yeah, or is it already in like some other part of the state regs
Well,
for food?
different
or-
drains don't always go into the sewer system. Some drains,
Got it.
so it's
Okay.
it's very
so that
complicated.
one might not be
It's
yeah.
very complicated.
That might not be as easy as we think. Okay. What else do we have?
We have, I got the whole book here.
Yeah.
we-
What are all of our darn regulations at this point?
So we have animals,
Yeah.
as we know. We have the Aquifer Protection District,
Oh,
Yeah.
we went over that a few times.
Oh God, yeah.
which I think that one does need to be going over because it conflicts
Yes.
with the planning board in some.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just iron that out for everyone.
Yep.
We have the body art regulations.
I don't think we have, do we
Floor
have
drains.
anybody in town doing that?
I think so.
Not right now.
We just, it stays on the books, tattooing and all that
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean, so you want that on in case anybody does come back?
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much, we go by the model state regs, so that's what we adopted.
Okay.
And if you haven't adopted anything, then, so it's better to have some. I just checked with a couple of the other agents in the office too to see what they have for floor drain regs and who,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, if
who
it's
would-
something we
who-
should have, then
Some,
I don't have any problem having it.
It could be part of the sewer regulations. It could be part of the building permit regulations. I mean,
Yeah.
probably something to take a look at and see if you're duplicating someone else.
It's old. It's one of the older ones we have. I know it's been around for a long time.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have floor drains. We have our outdoor wood burning boilers.
Yeah.
To me, that would be a fire department thing.
so the outdoor wood boiler, you can vote to deregulate that because the State Department of Environmental Protection has regulations, so we can just go by the states and they're good.
Okay.
Still such a thing, outdoor wood burning?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
boilers?
So you can
Or
have-
Like what?
So you, instead of having a wood stove in your house,
Yeah.
you have a wood stove in a shed. And it constantly feeds wood, and you heat water, and the hot water goes into the house. Yeah,
It
but that
can't
was
be
a
a-
real big deal.
There
Yeah.
can't be a whole lot of them left, though,
I
right?
don't know of any in Ayer, but you see some, in more rural areas
Yeah, I was gonna
that,
say, it sounds
No.
like a rural thing.
but they put up an incredible amount of smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We also have wells, it looks like.
So that I'm gonna go through those well regulations because I think we should update those to include things like PFAS. testing.
Okay, all right.
There's also a moratorium on groundwater wells
Yeah,
in here.
yeah.
But I don't know what that has, so we'll have to figure that
Yeah.
out.
Didn't we visit that a couple of years ago, and we were trying to get an answer from somebody in either DPW or Water Department
this-
about private wells, and some of them were so,
It's like we don't have an
so far
inventory.
back that we, yeah, they weren't on the books
Yeah.
for some of the older properties, so we really couldn't,
Yeah, there's no
we
inventory.
couldn't get an idea, yeah, an inventory,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
There's no place you can go to say, where are all the wells
Where
in
are they?
town?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we covered it with that moratorium, that, yeah, this was before your time, but when all the stuff with Shepley's Hill and all that was coming up,
Yeah.
and the plume and, you know, those concerns, we just said that, well, there's a moratorium on putting in any new wells if you're in that area.
They have to get a permit from you for a well anyhow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not that many places in the town that aren't served by town
Yeah.
water.
So the new trend, the new trend though is we have to have a super green lush lawn. So because the town has a water bans, people will spend money to put in a private well. So that's a new trend, and that's something that, you know, some towns have bylaws now that prohibit wells if you're on town water.
So, well, there's a difference though, and again, I don't know the plumbing code. If you have a well, you can't have it tied into the same source as the town water supply. It has to be separate.
Correct.
Right.
But if someone wanted to have a well, not for potable water, would that even fall under the Board of Health?
Any
Yeah.
well put in has to have a permit
Yeah.
from us.
Really?
So, and in some towns now they have, like, we can incorporate that into the well regulations. If you have town water and you want to put in an irrigation well, there can be no cross connections. You have to
Correct.
record it on your deed.
Yep.
There's things that you can put in place. And like I said, I think some towns actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I could see some people drawing water out of the pond to irrigate their lawn.
Oh,
too.
yeah, yeah, right.
Or water source, you know.
Yeah, lawns aren't so bad. It's the issue is if they use it for a garden, if they're growing any crops that they're going to eat. So I think and we can't really regulate what they do with them, so.
Actually, that leads me, so I got a call earlier today, it's not in the call log because I got it this morning, about someone who got a letter about wells. He lives on West Main Street, and he got a letter from the, I think it was the U.S. military.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Army,
yeah.
saying that he can't do this, and he was a little freaked out, so I said I'd find some info for him, because he was like, yeah, so, because we have a garden and we eat that stuff, like, should we not be doing that? Something about,
Is it using well water for it?
I'm not sure, I was gonna get some,
Okay.
I was gonna see what I could do, and he was gonna
Yeah.
send me, he was gonna send me a copy of the letter, so I could
Interesting.
figure out what that was.
The Army or the Army Corps?
I was just gonna say, I think it's.
Probably the Army Corps.
It had something to
yeah.
do with contaminations.
Yeah, because they periodically have sent out in the past
And I-
notifications to people.
And I was
in that
wondering
area.
if that was the case, and I wonder if they just moved in, so.
Yeah, there was a RAB meeting that I didn't attend. I think it was the first week in November. So
Yeah, I
I'll go
saw
back
the
and look
email.
at the information for that too, to see if there was, they may have decided, you know, hey, it's time to,
Remind everyone.
yeah,
Okay.
remind people. So I'll check that out too.
All right. He said he was going to send me
I
a
have the
copy of the letter
presentation from
too,
last
so
time. Yeah,
I
send
even
it
knew
to
what he was
me
talking
or
about.
Call me or whatever if you get it, and I'll search on my end and see if there's anything
Yeah.
from the RAB.
Yes.
Uh-huh. All right, what else do we have for regs?
We have prohibiting smoking in workplaces and public places.
Ooh.
That one's from 2019. That may be our newest one. We have our solid waste hauler regulations.
Okay.
Has it been updated?
That one's from 2015. This is the last time that one was updated.
Really?
Wasn't it?
Hmm.
And then we have our tobacco ones, which those ones are from 18.
Yeah.
And then I am pretty sure the transfer station is shoved in the back. I don't think we do that anymore.
No. Is that the thing about setting fees and?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
it's
that's
like that.
That's
So
gone. We don't
that
do
one's
anymore.
old.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what we have. And as in terms of like dates that they were effective, like the floor drains was last updated in 01.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of thinking.
It looks like most of them are, let's see, Wells was 13. No, actually, the moratorium's from 13. The well regulations are from 01.
Yeah, I believe that. I definitely believe that. Okay, well, I'll take well, you're going to look at wells anyway. You said, right? Okay. I'll take a quick look at the rest of them because I just want to do a list with dates and see what we got here. And there may be some that we can knock off the list because they're pretty recent or, like with body art, maybe you just happen to know that, oh yeah, that's all the state stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're doing. So, all right, I'll give you a call and we can kind of go through the list and see what it looks like we might need to actually pay attention to.
Just a suggestion, maybe put an index in the front of that with the date that they were approved, and then you can routinely just look at that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think the index thing, for my purpose, just to see what there are for regulations.
Yeah. I've been wanting to kind of just do one for myself anyway.
Yes, that's part of my, I will complete, this will be all thrown out and started over and when we get it.
Yeah, because that was like the master, right, for the longest time.
I guess so.
If it was in the book. It exists.
There's 2 of them upstairs, and this one looked the most recent, so I went with that one.
All right. Okay, I'll do a list. Keep it on for just discussion, review of regs, and I'll talk to Bridget, and we can maybe get some updating stuff.
I love that.
Affleck.
I know. Yeah, fucked up.
What was it? Who was here? The tech
Oh, Cindy.
ring of fire.
What's that? That was so funny.
Johnny Cash song. That's an interesting ringtone.
Oh my God. I found the commercial and sent it to her too.
Did you?
I did. Call log, here it is, underneath my stuff. Okay, so are we good with regs? Then, Neshoba, do you have things to update us on from Neshoba?
So we're in the middle of relicensing. There are a few places that have not relicensed. We're giving them a few more days and then we'll send the list to Carly.
Okay.
And I'll copy you on it just for
This
there.
is food, right? The food establishments, okay.
There's some, we've been doing a lot of food inspection, so there's some that we have to follow back up on.
Okay.
I'll put them in the envelope for the next meeting.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. We can look at those on the 11th. All right, and it kind of looks quiet here in the call log outside of the rats. Yeah, and then a couple of things conditions in a rental house and
That's not an error.
yeah, constable from Worcester.
There's
Okay.
I don't even remember I write a few of them down just as a sort of, just so you know, this is what I probably get like 6 or 7 more a week of the
Just
spiel
oddballs.
in the spiel of this is what's going on, and they're obviously upset and stressed, and I just let them talk for a little bit. But 99% of the time I go, okay, and your name and where do you live? And they give me the address and I go, okay, I am terribly sorry, but that is not an error. You need to contact Neshoba or you need to contact your own Board of Health, because a few times I've had quite a few that are like, that's in Dorchester, please call Dorchester. I don't know why Dorchester.
That's different.
Yeah.
There's been quite a few. Their phone number must be close to ours or something.
Oh,
I'm not
I
sure.
wonder. Oh, great.
But
No, we have enough problems. We don't want Dorchester's calls.
okay.
Okay. Minutes then. October 30th. Did anyone have the opportunity to?
I read them, I didn't see
I
any.
didn't see anything.
There was one in grammatical correction, I think.
Oh,
And it was the issuing of a permit. I forget even where I saw it. I I didn't scratch it down.
Is it under the keeping of animal and fowl permits
I think
were?
so.
And it was supposed to be was.
Oh,
Because it wasn't. Yep.
Okay, so you got it already?
I can fix that. Right there.
okay.
Problem solved.
Okay.
Okay, are we all right with the minutes then? Are we doing a motion to,
I'll do a motion. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the October 30th Ayer Board of Health meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, here's the signed one. Ooh. Done. Bills, mail.
I don't have any bills. I will have bills for the next meeting because I had to buy ink
Oh,
and a calendar
okay.
and some notebooks because that's what happens.
God.
So I will have those for the next meeting.
Okay.
But I don't have the bills yet.
To keep me organized, thank you.
Anything for mail? Anything
No mail,
we need to tend to?
nothing crazy.
Trash haulers and tobacco people doing
I
what they
have-
need to do?
Sort of.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so we'll start with the tobacco people. Our tobacco crew is very good. They have submitted, I just did the list. 7 of the 12 have submitted. There's only 6 left. Well, no,
Awesome.
actually 5 left. And they've been pretty good.
That's great. Well, that's a good moneymaker, so
Yeah.
we must lose out on that one.
There is one, they haven't applied yet, but they do still have an outstanding violation, so
Oh, okay.
I will let you know when they come through, but they haven't applied
Yeah,
yet.
okay.
But as it is, we have completed permit applications for Shaker Hill Country Club and Barnum Road Liquors.
Okay. How did we do the, we don't do motions and all that stuff for these, do
You
we?
have
Or do
in
we?
the past.
We have?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I do them by,
If you want to do them all as a lump, we can do that.
yeah,
So I've got
we should do that.
those 2. I've got Yatum Central Convenience, which is on Park Street, Ray's Smoke Shop, All Town Fresh, and GW Archer, Shop and Save, and Pauline's.
Beautiful.
And the one with the violation didn't submit an
Not
application?
yet.
What, where is the place?
The Jack-o'-lantern.
Who feels like making a motion?
The wording. Make a motion
So it would be a
to-
motion to approve the tobacco permits for, yeah,
And say all of
yeah,
them?
just say the
Make a
names.
motion to approve tobacco permits for Shop and Save, Pauline's Variety, All Town Fresh, GW Archer, Yatim Central Convenience, and Ray's Smoke Shop.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oops, I forgot to.
So,
I'll just tag them in.
reopen the vote.
I make a motion to accept the tobacco permits for Shaker Hills Country Club and Barnum Road Liquors.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Sorry.
Thank you. Do I put today's date?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put today's date.
Okay, which is still the 27th.
It is still the 20th.
All day.
They did.
I keep sitting here while I sign all these stupid things. What else is going on? Oh, trash haul, yeah, tell us how the trash haulers are.
I've got 2 trash haulers who've completed their paperwork. And 2 others who tried but didn't finish. I gotta call them. And then no one else has contacted us. So I will send out second notices to say, please submit. I've given them the option. You can fill out on paper, you can fill out online, you can pay online, you can.
Wow.
I even have to mail it. It'll be fine and
Awesome.
great, but
Yeah, I know, it's just getting people to actually
getting to
do it, right?
So for our trash haulers, I have Metrono and I have D. Cressico Trucking. I don't actually know how you say that. But
Haven't heard of that one.
They both have been around for a while anyway. One of the things I did do, because I was going through the regulations to make sure they had all submitted everything, is actually according to our trash hauler regulations, they need to submit a solid waste hauler reporting form. Now, I looked, and no one has submitted one since 2019. And we haven't really required it, but it's actually supposed to get sent to the DPW.
Yeah.
And I contacted Dan, and Dan went, "Oh, we haven't gotten one of those in years. Please make them start sending them."
Oh.
Apparently they're useful.
Is that in part of the regulations?
It is.
It is, yeah. I
So,
seem to recall that.
no one's done it for their permits, but it says submit for February and August, so I will,
Yeah, maybe do a reminder even when you send out the.
I will
okay.
start doing some.
Okay.
I don't think the commercial haulers use the transfer station, though, do they? Most of them take stuff out of town. I've never seen a.
I've never seen one up there.
So this isn't for the use of the transfer station. This
No,
is
it's just, it's where your stuff goes. That's the report of
you
where
have
all
to
your stuff
say
goes
how
and how
much.
many tons and, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Is
how
that
many.
for the state?
Yeah, that gets reported into like Irene Conlon's
I think so.
group, I think.
I don't know, but Dan said he'd really like them, so I will get them.
All right, then
I will get them to Dan.
you can nudge people along to do that.
But these two are okay. They did what they were supposed
All
to.
right, well,
Do we have to do that
you can make
too?
this motion.
Yes, we don't want to mess it up. We only want to do it once.
I would move that we issue the solid waste hauler permits for Metrano Removal Service of 104 Lancaster Road, Shirley, and D. Cressico Trucking, 100 Billerica Avenue, Billerica, Mass.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. So voted. Okay. So next meeting, we know one topic for sure. So we'll be on the lookout for
Yes.
a plan from Ruth's attorney, and I'll touch base with you when, the day comes later on in this week, and so I'll help with prodding too. But that was brilliant, Bridget, absolutely. If it goes to you and we're just commenting to you, so you guys get it. Yeah, if you see things about it, send them to
That way.
Bridget, and then I can kind of compile.
The open meeting law is not
Yeah.
violated, so.
Yeah, that is perfect, because I completely understand their frustration, that it's like, okay, then on the 11th, we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to come back in 2 weeks. and we're gonna
That's
talk
why I
about it.
wanted to clarify it,
Yeah.
because I could see the frustration, like,
Yeah,
we're just,
yeah,
Backtracking.
exactly, yeah. No, I really want to do something substantial at that meeting on the 11th and come up with some dates and some deliverables. Okay, so then we know we are meeting on the 11th, and the one after that, we usually punt, but, it kind of depends on what's
Well,
going
then-
on, so we might not be able to.
The next one after that is December 25th. So
Really?
we won't be meeting on Christmas.
Christmas is on a Monday?
Christmas is not a Monday.
Well, that's rude. Well, it's not supposed to be on a Monday. That's an awful day for Christmas.
Awful day. But no. So our regularly scheduled meetings are the 11th and 25th of December. So.
Well, we are not meeting. And then that means the next one is going to be New Year's Eve, right?
yeah.
Oh, you're.
Jeez.
That would be correct.
Okay.
Actually, no, because we meet the second and fourth Monday. So the next one actually would be January 8th.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because, okay. So January 8th for sure. And then we'll see, based on what happens on the 15th, if we need to try to squish another meeting in there for some reason.
So
I didn't mean to suggest that, but I just
Yeah, I know. Because we've got to keep it moving, you know, while we've got some.
I didn't want the abutters to think that the next meeting would be, okay, we have a plan.
Yeah.
We have 30 more days to implement
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, you gave us a list of what you're gonna do and what materials for your fence, but you
Yeah,
have another,
yeah.
that's what I didn't wanna see happen,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it
exactly.
looks like that's the road we're going down.
Yeah, and our attorneys seem to think that they could provide the plan, so that sounds good to me.
That's just supplying the plan.
Exactly.
It's the implementation that I'm worried about. And I can see where things are
Yeah.
gonna get hot if it lingers.
Yeah, I can too. Oh, it's always something. All right. Anything else from anybody?
Nope.
Forever hold your peace, or at least till the 11th?
I move we adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.